Whoever she complained to that did nothing also needs to be held accountable. You had a child telling you, a minor telling you that an adult was trying to come onto her sexually, and she's been telling you this since last year, and you did nothing? Y'all need to understand, it doesn't matter what a woman says. It doesn't matter how she says it. If a man can kill a woman for saying no, he was always unhinged. If a man can kill a girl or a woman for rejecting him, that should let you know then and there the man is the issue. And this happens too much and too frequently for y'all to say that this is not an issue.
It definitely does. There's outrage growing around this situation in Colorado where this teenage girl was murdered because she was working with a murderer. And apparently no one really decided to care about that because she turned him down. The teenager turned down this grown-ass man. So this is what happens. Let's go to the details of this as we look at his mugshot, because he was arrested for this, at least. So 28-year-old Colorado man was arrested by local authorities this week for allegedly murdering his teenage colleague inside the break room of a Walgreens where they both worked. Police arrived at the scene around 7 o'clock on the day of the murder after the manager placed a 911 call, according to an affidavit. Mr. Zunino had informed the dispatchers that he'd initially suspected that something was wrong when another manager reported that Riley, the young girl, didn't return from her break. So the murder, it was covered, even covered the cameras and blocked off access to the break room before he even attacked her. So this is a full thought process. Mr. Zunino reportedly saw Mr. Johnson stacking bins in front of one of the store's surveillance cameras until the frame was completely covered. The window to the break room appeared taped over with a sign that read, "Restroom closed." A lot of premeditation when it came to this, it seems. After viewing the tapes, the manager went to the break room and found the brutal murder scene. Imagine what he has to see there after that happened. So there was a whole year before this incident that Riley complained to her managers and told them that she felt unsafe around Johnson. But it gets worse. The manager also pointed out that outside of the videotapes, he had other reasons to suspect that Mr. Johnson of foul play. A year before, as I mentioned, this deadly incident unfolded in the break room. Riley had lodged a complaint about him for making inappropriate advances towards her while they were working. And then just recently, the teenage employee had requested that managers refrain from putting the two of them in the same schedule because her older coworker had reportedly started to make her feel uncomfortable. The teen had also subsequently asked for more hours, but was told by her superiors that if she wanted those hours, she'd be working alongside the man who a year earlier she'd flagged for making inappropriate advances towards her. So we have a year's worth of her talking about how creepy this guy is and she can't even work next to him under normal working hours. Then it turns into, hey, can I have more hours? And like, well, you're gonna have to work next to the guy that you told us is creeping you out and making weird advances, but we decided to do nothing about. So go ahead and take your extra hours. Here's your gift there. But then do it next to the guy that we see as a problem and we've noticed is a problem. And someone else even pointed out there's suspicion around him, but who cares? You're just a 17-year-old girl.
Those managers should be held responsible for not going to the police. And we've even talked about stories where police just don't do their job there, completely do that. But you have to, if this is repeatedly continuing to happen, where you have one employee making other employees feel uncomfortable, that employee should just be let go. It's a Walgreens, all right? Like you can find other people to do this job, honestly. And it should not have even gone to that point. Like in any just society, those managers are also held responsible for this absolutely senseless murder.
I feel like even jobs like Walgreens have these sensitivity trainings, don't they? I mean,
but I mean, it's also the problem with jobs like this where the managers are the only HR department in that, essentially, right? There is no other third party out here which can potentially provide some semblance of help and say okay, no, this is a situation where you have to let this person go. It's why a lot of workers in these industries, in service-facing industries like Starbucks, like you're hearing with Apple especially, are starting to form unions because their needs from this extreme case all the way to just other worker principles are not being met by managers who are just not paying attention.
And honestly, I feel like there's a thought process that, oh, it's just a Walgreens. Oh, it's a Walmart. Oh, it's a this mom. And it's just whatever kind of small, no name, not big deal type of situation it is. There's a thought that, oh yeah, there's a manager there. It's just a, who knows, minimum wage, $9 an hour job, $9 an hour type of job. So let's not protect these folks. Hey, these probably are the more likely kind of jobs you need to protect people from, because that does fly under the radar. And you do have incompetent managers like this who think, yeah, I'm just gonna show up, clock in, yeah, work, yeah, make the schedule, go, and don't actually think there's an importance to the kinds of relationships and actually negative, potentially dangerous things that happen under your watch. So when you're trying to just avoid doing something, you don't want to lose a worker by firing this creepy dude. Now look at the situation you're dealing with, right? Does that help you now? I don't know when we're gonna start protecting folks when it's pretty obvious that we need to, but that's not the state of the country.